Hey, I'm Gus Arrendale with Springer Mountain Farms, and I'm so privileged to be asked to be back on Mary Beth Oxendine's Cooking with Miss O show. I just love it. We have the best time. And Mary Beth, thank you again for letting me be here. And we're going to have a super show today about superfoods is what we're going to do. We got superfoods.
Yes.
Everything. I was telling Mary Beth that out here, she has got all this stuff laid out so pretty it looks like Garden of Eden. It really does. I mean, we got celery, we got grapes, we got peaches, we've got lemons, we've got apples, all kinds of good stuff for us. And superfoods, Mary Beth tells me that superfoods are what's going to keep you healthy.
Yes.
And what I love about it is chicken being one of them. Correct?
Well, it has to be a certain chicken.
It's got to be Springer Mountain Farms chicken.
Yes, and it's not, and it's not really because of him. I mean, it is. It's his chicken. Is you tell them about?
Well, it's just a better chicken for you. And
Yes.
what I love this true story. Mary Beth didn't know about me, or she didn't know about her company, and she'd been using the chicken for years. And so she called over there one day and she said, "I use y'all's chicken, and it helped heal my kids, and it's just a better chicken." And I said the reason why is because no antibiotics, it's all vegetable diet, and we're certified by the American Humane Association that we're good to our chickens. And so she came over and visited, and I had no idea that she had a cooking show, and she had no idea that I had a good chicken or that it was me. And so she came over and we got together and have been together ever since. And it is Springer Mountain Farms chicken, and I think you will just love it. This is an individually 6 4-ounce wrapped breast right here. It's one of our best-selling items. And Mary Beth, I'll tell you what too that you ought to do. I want to take the time right now. We have got the best website. You go to SpringerMountainFarms.com, and Mary Beth is you're on there. Go to SpringerMountainFarms.com. Look on there, and what I'd like for you to do is what we've got a new thing now. Let me show you this. Can we zoom in on that? Go to SpringerMountainFarms.com and join the flock for me. When you join the flock, you put in your email address, and you'll get monthly newsletters. You get news, you get videos, you get coupons, and more. Just enter your email address in the pop-up on the home screen and join our flock, and I think you'll really like it. And you can go on our website and see all kinds of videos, see all kinds of our grain being grown, see all kinds of different things. Go to our link, see who our friends are. Mary Beth's been on there. I've been telling Mary Beth for years that she ought to have her own cooking show. And that's the joke, right? Anyway, but she does have her own cooking show, and it's a chicken show today.
Yes.
Because we're going to be talking about superfoods and Springer Mountain Farms being one of the superfoods. Mary Beth, some of the superfoods that we've got down here, I don't know if you know this, but apples. Apples is a great superfood. I wish I could juggle. I'd put on a little show for you, but apples are a good superfood. Did you know that the skin has 2 to 6 times more antioxidants than the flesh does? Chicken, I think, is also a good source of antioxidants. It is. Well, apples is a great thing. Peaches, loaded with fiber and potassium. Red grapes, I'm going to try this one. Red grapes, neuroprotective. How about that? Neuroprotective benefits, so that must be your nerves. It's going to make you calm. Laid back.
Yes.
All that.
Now, what fruit is that one?
Oh, that is on the red grapes. Yeah. And on the skin of the red grape, it also has you ready for this? Phytochemical. It's a phytochemical called resveratrol. And that sounds like it's going to be bad for you, but it's not. It's not.
That's right.
In fact, it boosts cognition, which everybody needs. I know I need. Your brain help you remember.
Right.
And as we get older, the brain does not function quite as good.
Actually, I think that all this Alzheimer's and stuff is because we've drank so many Cokes, we've eaten so much processed food.
I think you're absolutely right, Mary. And processed foods, I do. And I think they've linked that to Alzheimer's, have they not?
Have they?
I think they have.
I don't know. I should look that up.
I think they have. Yeah, processed white sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yes.
Coca-Cola.
Yes.
They said all that goes.
Now, I'm going to tell a little story.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why I started with organics and everything like that, I had a son that was first with our children, and he was about 4, and then we had well, our little girl was 2, and our little girl was Marie, and she was throwing up all night and diarrhea all day. I would go in the grocery store at Ingles, and that's why they're one of my sponsors, and the manager there, I'd have Tom's bath towel, and he would push her behind me and talk to her and everything. But she was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at Emory. They gave her 9 days to live, and the 10th day was her 2nd birthday. They told us to go home and bury Marie and then bring Josh back, because Josh wasn't our first one. We lost our first one, so that he wasn't going to live either. So what happened was I came home 2 days later, Tom and I, this lady at Seventh-day Adventist, and she's still in the Clemson area, and she said that she came by because she was doing bread making classes in Clemson, and I love to cook, but my kids were so sick I couldn't go to the classes. All my friends were going. So she came by 2 days after we got that news, and she came in with her mixers and everything, and her wheat and her oats and stuff, and she came in, Gus, and she said, I'm going to do the class right here for you and your little girl, and she brought her 10-year-old little girl. Then she told me, they told you...
And again, to back up Mary Beth, that who's the lady that...
It's in my cookbook, and I know her.
Okay, but how are you associated with her? How did you know?
She didn't know me, and I didn't know her, but I knew she was doing bread making classes. All my friends went there because it was a class in Clemson that you could take for cooking, you know, and I love to cook. But I couldn't because my kids were too sick, so I could never go to that class.
Well, how did you connect with her?
Because
she
my
reached out
friends
to you? Or?
She did. My friends that were taking the classes, they were telling everybody to pray because we just got back from Emory, and the kids were dying, both of them.
Yes.
And so, and then they told us.
Boy, I mean, that's tough on you.
It is. But anyway, we had to be okay for the kids, me and Tom.
Yeah, you're
know?
right. You got to be strong for them. So, okay, so you get with the lady.
Yeah, so anyway, she comes in and she says, she sets up everything. She has her 10-year little girl that's 10 years old.
10 years old.
She played with Marie and Josh right there, you know. She was precious. And she told me, she said, they told you that your marriage wouldn't make it because you're losing 2 children, right? And I said, yes.
It does put a strain on it.
And I said, yes, and he said, and I said, yes, they told us that.
Blaming each other, it's your fault, no, it's your fault.
Well, you're right, or just the stress of it all.
Or both our faults.
Yes, no, and so what happened was, she said, that's what happened to us. We were in the mission field up in Canada, close to the Alaska, and in that little town was an ice skating
rink. What were you doing at a mission field?
Not me, the lady.
The lady was, okay.
Yeah, and she was telling me
Canada.
her story. Yes, and she was way up there, and they had in the town a little, street, and then they had an ice skating ring, and on Sundays, all of the people in that little town would come to ice skate after they've had their dinner and gone to church, and that's what everybody did. Well, her 12-year-old boy and her 6-year-old boy were out there, and the girls were too, and they were real good skaters. Well, the 6-year-old fell through the ice.
Oh, no. Fell through the ice?
Fell through the ice, and they never had that happen. So the men were rushing because this 12-year-old was trying to get to his brother, and he jumped in and froze immediately too. So right there that Sunday, they lost both of their boys.
You introduced me to that lady. I was here. It's been 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes, it was when we first started.
That's correct. I was here. What a tragic story, too.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And so...
And she lost her son.
Both sons.
Both sons.
Both sons.
And one, the little one went down, and then she lost the other one trying to save it, didn't she?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
The men were trying to skate fast. He was real fast, and they couldn't stop him because they knew he would die if he jumped into, but they couldn't stop it. So they came back to Salem around here, and she was doing those classes to help her. And then when she heard about me, she told me that day, she said, Mary Beth, my husband and I decided that what we were going to do was go into houses where the children are dying so that we can save their marriages. Was that not precious?
What a great thing.
So she told me, now I'm going to be here with you and your children, and then when Marie dies, we're going to...
Oh, Lord, though.
I know. You didn't know all that, did you?
No, I didn't know that.
So when Marie dies, in the next couple of days, she said, we're going to be here. My husband's going to come and take care of your husband, and I'm going to help you with Josh and everything. And so she taught me this.
About the grains.
Yes, and the wheat berry was the first one she started with me. And when she told me how to make the bread, and instead of my children going downhill, my children got well in 3 months. 3 months.
That is the best story. That
It is. I'm a cry.
Oh, don't cry on us.
So, but let me just tell you then, Tom.
Well, I didn't mean to, but it's all in what you're feeding them.
That's
isn't it?
right, and that's why I
That's the main
started
point.
doing this.
That's why we started doing the show.
Yes.
Is because you thought you could reach out, help people
The
with
ones
your
with
cooking.
cystic fibrosis.
Yes,
That's what,
that's
because they
excellent.
say, because they're, I mean, it's horrible, that disease.
Well,
but
you do just a great job, and I'd not heard all that whole story, and that was very interesting.
There's more to the story if you want to hear it.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what. Let's take a break right now.
Okay,
Let's take a little
thank
break, and then
you.
we'll come back.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
We're sent from heaven above, the song that...
Hey guys, Arrendale with Springer Mountain Farms, back with the Super Cooking with Miss O show, and my great friend Mary Beth Oxendine. We've been talking about Mary Beth's tragedies and triumphs in her family, and we just got through before the commercial break telling about she met a lady that had been that lived in Canada, lost both her kids, two sons. A small one and his older brother went after him. They were ice skating, fell through the ice. So she reaches out to Mary Beth and says, I want to help you, Mary Beth, and I want to help you with your children, and I'm going to make your children well, because she knew that.
No, she didn't know it would make them well.
Okay, she did not.
This was a shock to her,
That's
too.
right. She came to your house
to help me.
Maybe comfort you in case they passed away.
When they passed away, because Marie
Oh,
only had 9 days.
No,
She only
still,
had,
but that's awful thinking when, But they
it was
didn't.
hard. No.
Okay,
they
all right.
didn't.
Tell us the rest of the story.
So then, when my kids started getting well, and then our whole
Because you
life
were
was
feeding
changing.
them right.
Yes, it was the wheat berry, and we went to the organics and everything, and then we found you, and then I knew I had a good source of meat, and actually it's wonderful because that has the most protein that. If I start getting weak or something, because, I haven't eaten or something because I'm doing too much and not eating, I just do a piece of chicken and I'm okay.
Yes, great.
Yeah.
Superfoods.
So superfoods, that's what I'm
Superfoods.
telling y'all. And so what happened was 18 years later, both of my kids lived, they're healthy as could be, and
Giving a bunch of
some
grandkids.
doctors have said,
Bunch of grandkids.
yes, five.
Five.
And so anyway, so 18 years later, the Christmas before Tom died in September, on September 11th, one of his students, I was at a Bible study at Rock Springs, and she, after the Bible study, she came up to me and said, Miss O, I know you don't remember me, but I was in the class when your children were dying, and there's a new study out, I think, Mr. O, and you would like, so go on this, tell him to go on it. And when he got home from school, I was cooking dinner, the kids were coming in and stuff, and Tom went back to the computer, and he came out. I'd never seen my husband cry, and he was a big guy, and he was just tears just coming out of his eyes, and he said, Mary, we got our miracle. I said, Tom, how can you say that? I said, they're well. He said, Mary, the new study out is that if you feed a child with cystic fibrosis, the whole wheat berry, before the 72 hours after it's been grained, it heals cystic fibrosis. And he said...
But it has to be eaten within 72 hours after it's been ground.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, there is a lifespan that they don't even know when it's not ground. So this could be 100 years old and it's still...
It's still good, but after you grind it, that's when it's
72
gonna,
hours.
that's when shelf life starts.
That's right. And
ticking
so what
around.
happens is, the reason why people are doing this gluten-free thing, that's kind of a scam. And I'll just say it, because the reason why they feel better is because they're off the flour, because after the 72 hours, it's a dead food. So what happens with the dead food? It's dead, and it makes you have bad, you're not eating anything good. And I can't think of the word right now but anyway.
Bad karma.
You shouldn't eat any flour at all in anything after the 72.
No flour.
Not until 72 hours. And see, by the time it gets to the store, it's a dead food.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
when
it's
they've
already
done
expired
it's
by then.
Yeah. So that's why I grind, and that's what healed my children of cystic fibrosis. And that study came out, and Tom said, Mary, I'm going to watch for a month. I don't think this will stay up a month because the pharmaceuticals don't want you to know this.
No, I agree, because they want you to take pills.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so he watched every day, and 1 month, and it went down. And every year I still try to get that back up, and you can't get it back up. But we knew
But that's where you heard about the grinding the grains.
Huh? No. That grinding the grains is where I learned with the lady, remember?
Yes.
And then that's how.
Okay, but then Tom read up on it. Excuse me.
It was 18 years later. 18 years later, that came out. And he died.
18 years later.
Yes, our kids were well, everything,
Wow.
and it came out. And then when he died on September 11th.
9/11.
He was.
How was that before or
He was
after
just
the terrorist
55.
thing?
It was 2007.
I think
I think
9/11
that
was in
was
2000,
2001,
2001,
something like that.
So.
So what happened was.
But it was an eventful day, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
For a lot of people, including
Yeah,
me.
I'm glad it's on that day for Tom, because that's one bad day already, so it didn't,
And I don't know where, just another trivia thing, where that our viewers, whether it be in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia, but did you also know I believe it was either 2 years this year or 3 years, the tropical storm that came through.
Yes.
That was also 9/11.
Yes, that's right. I
That's
forgot
right.
about
So we had
that.
Tom's death, tropical storm, and the terrorist act, all on 9/11.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a bad day.
It was a bad day. Watch out.
So,
yeah. Watch out for 9/11.
Yeah, I'm going to skip it this year. So,
That's right. Just take that day off.
Yes, let's just scratch it off. So what happened was he came out and he said, Mary, we've really gotten a miracle. And I said, Tom, they're well. And then
And how old were the children?
they were in, Marie was in SWU, and she lived at home. Southern Wesleyan University was in Central, and she was going to school there. And Josh was just starting his first teaching job in Pendleton.
Well, I'll be.
And I know, in the middle school. And so what happened was, then when Tom died, it turned out that he had a genetic condition too, and it was the genetic condition of, I just forgot it. It's the genetic condition that basketball players call the basketball syndrome, and they just drop, and Tom just dropped, and he had that, and the coroner was one of his students, and so she said.
And he was at school?
No, right before he left for school, he just dropped in front of me and Marie.
And wow.
So then what
Wow.
happened? What happened then was that they did the autopsy, and the coroner called me, and she said the people that did the autopsy wants me to do your cooking class. And I said, I don't think I'm going to do it anymore because it didn't help Tom. She said, oh, but it did help Tom. He has the genetic condition that basketball players drop dead on the basketball court. He is 56 years old, just turned 56 just a couple of days. And they have never had one that lived past 40, and they're in terrible health. And then 2 weeks afterwards, a girl at Clemson was a swimmer, a real good swimmer for Clemson, and she was from Pendleton. And she died of the same thing as Tom. They usually die, and she was 18. So,
well, let's get back on
this
something
is what
that's
I'm telling
going
you.
to help us live longer.
Well, that's what I'm telling
Yeah.
you. So what happened was the coroner said that they had found out with doing the autopsy that his heart was that of a 25-year-old, and that he should have never lived past 40 at all. And he was in perfect health, playing basketball and everything. And they said, your kids have been healed by superfoods and of cystic fibrosis, which they say you can't be healed of.
But
and
the
then my son
superfoods helped it, didn't it?
healed them.
Healed it.
And Tom got to live almost 15, 20 years later.
Longer than he should have.
And good health.
Yes.
And see, the only one that they said was at 40, he had terrible health.
All
So
right, well,
that's why we need superfoods.
Yes, and again, we haven't cooked anything, but we
We're not.
want to talk about it.
Yes, that's
and our
right.
superfoods that are great for you, again, is Springer Mountain Farms chicken,
Yeah.
apples,
Celery.
peaches, celery, grapes,
Lemons.
carrots.
Now, this kind of grapes.
Yeah,
Not
it's
all
got to
grapes.
be, excuse me, you're absolutely right, it's got to be red grapes.
Yep, it
Red
does.
grapes, go for red
Yes.
grapes.
And then the whole wheat flour. It has tremendous things that it does for you too.
Where
And
do
when
you
we
get
grind
the
it-
whole wheat flour?
I get it from Montana.
Montana. Can they
Yes.
go to your website, or is it posted on there?
No, but I could get it posted on there.
You can ask Mary Beth a question on your website?
I think so, yeah. I've got my daughter doing it. My daughter's good with it. I'm not. I just cook.
Okay. Well, try it anyway.
And
or,
teach.
Or email. What's your email? Do you know it?
Yes, Mary Beth's Kitchen, without apostrophe, marybethskitchen@gmail.com. And I want to tell one more
Mary
thing.
Beth's Kitchen at
gmail.com.
gmail.com. Mary Beth's Kitchen at gmail.com.
And Relive healed me when I lost the baby when I almost died, and that healed me within 3 days.
Okay, and this right here
That's the
is-
classic, and
well,
that's the Energize.
And real quick, we've got, this is all good
Yes.
health food for you. Bragg's vinegar. I drink this every day.
Yes.
I do. Whew, you talk about waking up, it's
I
better
know,
than smelling
I know.
salts. Maple syrup.
But it's real maple syrup. And
Real
it's-
maple
and
syrup.
it's- you have to have stuff that's got the nutrition in it.
Oh, I like this.
Yes,
Extra light
yes.
virgin
And my
olive oil.
family was European, so we grew up with that. And the raw honey. That's the raw honey in Pickens.
And if you can, you want to get your raw honey locally.
It's in Pickens.
Okay, but well, because we're here, but say if you're in
Yes.
South Carolina, you want to try
That's
acquire
right.
honey that's got the pollen and stuff from it from the place where you are.
You're
That's what
exactly
helps
right.
your
You're
your
exactly
allergies.
right.
Okay,
So,
we'll take a break.
Thank you. Thank you.
A new song is on my mind, the sweet melody.
Hey, Gus Arrendale here with Springer Mountain Farms and the Cooking with Miss O show. It's a superfood show. She's done a super job. We've heard how superfoods have helped you in your life. During the commercial break, we ground some grains. We've got, what kind of grain right here,
wheat.
remember?
The wheat.
This is wheat.
Whole wheat.
Whole wheat, and this is?
That is the, I just forgot again. It's the oats.
This is the oats right
Yeah.
here. You can use either the grain or the oats, grind them in your trusty grinder here. Where'd you get that? I always like that.
Yeah, I got it, and they now sell it around here, but I used to have to order it.
Okay.
This
Well,
is the second one I've gotten.
the second one, but she
Yeah.
grinds the grains. It's good for 72 hours to use it when it's
Yes,
still healthy,
it
right?
slowly goes down.
And we just ground this, and I wanted to feel the texture. Oh, that feels, that is just so smooth. It's like talcum powder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Tastes pretty good, too. Needs a little sugar. Nope, you're not supposed to have that. Don't put any
You
sugar
can
in
have those sugars over there.
Okay, I'll put some maple syrup
Now,
in
with
it.
the oats, it will help the heart and the arteries within the 72 hours. That's why people were so hardy before the 40s, and since the 40s, they don't do this anymore. So, and I wanted to tell you, the reason why I'm kind of stumbling a little bit is because I have 5 grandbabies, 2 new grandbabies, and I'm tired.
That's okay,
So,
Mary Beth. You work
thank
very,
you.
very hard.
Thanks.
And we know you are. And those 2 brand new grandbabies have been born in the past 3 weeks, I guess,
Yes,
or so. Hadn't
yes,
they? 2
yeah.
brand new ones. What about that?
Yeah.
That really is. Well, I sure have enjoyed it again. And you're just great, Mary Beth, and you help a lot of people with your knowledge of all the good foods and what's healthy for you. And good luck with all your grandbabies.
Yes.
And just getting started. I think she's got 5, and all of them are under
5 and under.
5 and under. 5
Yes.
and under. That's a handful. They're gonna be over
Yes.
it. What do they call you, Mary Beth?
Meemaw.
Meemaw. Meemaw's a bunch. So thank y'all for watching. Look forward to seeing you again. It's just a great time, great show. Go to Mary Beth's website, look at it and see what she's got. Order a cookbook. A lot of good food. Everything's healthy for you. Bye-bye.
I feel something in the air. A new song is on my mind. The sweet melody I hear whistling from heaven above. The song that I'm singing is of everlasting